As listeners, we want you to understand that the solution of business, tax, and legal issues depends on many factors, including local, state, and federal laws. Listeners' names and questions may be simulated. The show is not intended to offer business, tax, or legal advice, and Spiegel and Utrera PA, its attorneys, and Lawrence J. Spiegel recommend you seek legal advice from an attorney about your specific matter. AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. There are only two types of people, those in business and those who wish they were. Join Larry Spiegel, entrepreneur, author, and managing shareholder of Spiegel and Utrera PA, with host Joe Castello, as they tackle issues and challenges associated with starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business in today's highly competitive marketplace. It's time to start or expand your business today. And now, here's Larry Spiegel and Joe Castello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. I'm your host, Joe Castello, along with entrepreneur, author, and managing shareholder of Spiegel and Utrera PA, Larry Spiegel. Larry, welcome back.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be here today. Hope we can help a lot of people out.
I'm excited to help people out with their questions as they get ready to enter the world of starting or expanding their business.
Likewise.
There's all kinds of challenges out there and questions, and we're getting a lot of them. And in our past shows, we've tackled a lot of issues, and they're stacking up. We have more for you today. Are you ready?
Ready to go.
Absolutely. And remember, if you've got a question for Larry, radio show at AmeriLawyer.com, and that's radio show at AmeriLawyer.com, or you can call 800-520-7600. Leave your name and your question, and we may use it right here on the show. Let's get right into it. This one from Carlos.
Hi, my name is Carlos. Thank you for taking my call. I am a business owner. I have an oil changing business, actually a mobile oil changing business where I come to your location to change your oil, whether it be home or work. And I run this business with the use of my own truck that I bought, and it's part of the business itself. Now I'm looking to expand and buy another truck to add to it. So the question I have here is do I lease the truck or do I buy the truck? Do I lease the truck into the company's name or do I buy the truck as my own and just use it as my second truck for the business itself? Thank you very much.
Carlos, what I would say is this, that based upon the type of business that you're in and deducing from that the amount of work the truck would do and so forth, I would think that you would probably be better off buying the truck than leasing it. You would, of course, buy it, depreciate it, finance it, interest deduction. You're going to register it in the name of the business, unlike the truck you have now. It just seems to me when I see this, I'm always thinking about the insurance on the vehicle. And when you have a truck, it's very hard to avoid paying commercial insurance rates. So having said that, I see you paying commercial insurance rates. It's no doubt what you're doing right now with your other vehicle. And then there may be some advantage, and it may be possible, for you to purchase this new truck in your own name and then turn around, finance it, depreciate it in your own name, and lease it to your company. But I don't have enough details to be able to get into that. I'm hoping that that's what you're doing with the first vehicle that you have, the one that's in your name. If not, that's something you really need to explore because there are some advantages to doing that. Whenever there's a vehicle involved, we also have to be very careful about liability because even though we may be operating through our corporation or limited liability company, the ownership of a vehicle will continue to hold us liable if it's in our own name. In most jurisdictions, a motor vehicle is considered a dangerous instrumentality, and the owner, as most of us know, is going to be held responsible for any kind of accident that vehicle is in. So insurance is a very important element with the ownership of a motor vehicle.
Next up, Michelle wants to know, what are the advantages of copyright registration, and what situations should this be pursued? Larry?
Copyright registration relates to authorship of various items, whether it's artwork, music, stories, you name it. And the advantage of the registration in the United States is that, first of all, you are the exclusive owner. That's acknowledged by the government, and it's registered. But more importantly, in the United States, if you have any ownership rights that you want to enforce relating to whatever it is that you created, the only way that you can enforce those rights is through the registered copyright in federal court. So if you have anything that you want to protect and enforce your rights, you must register it as the copyright.
Now, I'm sure people have in their business a lot of things that they think should be trademarked or copyrighted, and their personal finances might limit them as to which ones they get copyrighted. Is there a way to determine, and I know every business is totally different, but is it important to copyright everything that you have that should be copyrighted, or should you prioritize one thing from the next?
Let's say that you had a website. Most people do. That's something that is an integral part of your business. We think it should be copyrighted. How else would you protect others from copying things there, infringing on your statements that you're making, and so on? And you could also see where it's a thicket, because a lot of people are copying what other people have on their websites. But if you have original information, you're the author of it, it's something that ought to be copyrighted. Now, there are other things in your business which need to be trademarked. The name needs to be trademarked. Do you want to protect the name? Do you want to be the exclusive owner of the name? Then you have to trademark. Let me back up. If you want to enforce your rights in federal court and receive the bundle of rights afforded under the trademark law, then you want to register it. If you have a logo, same thing applies. While you're trying to suggest that there's a whole litany of things that you want to go through about thinking about trademarking or copywriting and registering them, that is, I don't think the list is really that long if you go down and do an inventory. Now, if you're in the business of creating things that need to be copyrighted, for example, you write books, you write stories, you write articles, then you're in that business. You need to copyright every one of those. Every newspaper out there copyrights every edition every day. The idea is that, you have to look at it, and it may even be part of your business that you would be copywriting. Now, trademarking, it's possible that you're creating logos or whatever, and you want to trademark those and then sell them to others. They're already registered. That's quite possible because you can assign the registration to another.
Now, you mentioned the copyright on the newspaper. How does that process work legally? If a paper is coming out every day, most of us have done something legally, and it takes a while. So do they have some sort of right that whatever they do is copywritten in advance so that the paper today is copywritten tomorrow? It seems like it would take a long time.
No, there's nothing in advance. It doesn't take a long time. Remember, these are newspapers, so guess who's got a lot of power? So their process is very smooth, and as I've said on other shows, the copywriting process is not as lengthy as trademarking by any means. It's a very short process. The government is recording your copyright and pretty much accepting from you the fact, based on your application and registration, that you are the author of this material. And so they accept it, they register it, and they give you your registration. And it's there. The trademark is a little bit different because the government's actually looking into to see whether or not there's anybody else out there that's registered that mark or a similar mark. And that's why the process takes a lot longer.
We'll be back after this on Start or Expand Your Business Today.
Start or expand your business today.
There are some mistakes in business that may cause the occasional headache. Then there are some mistakes in business that may keep you up all night for weeks and months at a time. Avoid those mistakes by seeking strategic business and legal advice from a team of attorneys ready to help you. Spiegel and Joe PA's General Counsel Club can assist you with the tough legal and business questions at crucial times. Call toll-free 800-734-9900 to receive your annual membership and be entitled to get unlimited strategic business and legal advice for a year. The General Counsel Club can assist with how to buy or or sell business, converting hobby expenses into legitimate business expenses. What are legitimate business expenses for tax purposes? Tips on leasing a business location, whether for retail, office, warehouse, or industrial. Leasing versus buying options for vehicles and equipment. IRS examinations, audits, liens, levies, deficiencies, and settlements of tax disputes. Knowledge is power, and knowing that Spiegel and Joe PA's General Counsel Club is one phone call away may give you the confidence to succeed during the day and rest well at night. Call 800-734-9900 or log on to AmeriLawyer.com today.
Got a question about starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business? Email radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com. Listeners' questions may air on episodes of AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business today. That's radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com. Now back to Start or Expand Your Business today.
Welcome back to AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business today. Joe Castello along with Larry Spiegel taking your email questions, and if you want to submit one, you can do so at radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com, and while you're on the site, you can check out lots of great information, including, Larry, you're an author of a couple of books out there. Great stuff. Charlie's Entrepreneurial Journey, Detours and Contradictions, based on the same subjects we're discussing here on the show.
Right. These concepts run through those books. By the way, they're each copyrighted also.
How excellent. Back into the questions. This one from Andrea wants to know, another business is selling a recipe book that I wrote last year. I have not protected it. What can I do to prevent this other business from profiting from selling my recipe book?
Recipes in and of themselves are not something that you can copyright. It's like a list of ingredients or whatever. But the minute you marry that with narrative and other information, here it rises to the level of what you're calling a recipe book. So you would register that at the Copyright Office, and you would receive the bundle of rights that we've spoken about under federal law, and you could enforce your rights against who's ever infringing upon them in the federal courts and prevent them from using your recipe book and making money off of it.
If you have written the book in the past, though, and failed to protect it, and now they're selling it, can you go back and copyright something that someone is already taking from you?
We recommend that you copyright as soon as possible, but in this particular question, she's well within a reasonable period of time where she could copyright the book. The moment it was copyrighted and accepted, she could go ahead and sue the infringers.
There you go, Andrea. Make a move and let us know how it all turns out. Now, a recipe book, ingredients, mixtures, that's not copyrightable. But when they go into how they came up with the concept and something that is strictly theirs, that is copyrightable.
Well, I think the ingredients part are, standing alone are not copyrightable. I'm not sure what you meant by mixtures. I think when you get to mixture, then it becomes copyrighted because you're giving them instructions.
Ratios.
About what to do. No, you're giving, I'm thinking there you're telling them how to mix or whatever. So those are the instructions. Now we're getting into what we would consider the recipe book.
And that comes specifically from the author, how they feel it should be put together, and so that's what makes it unique, whereas use flour is not unique.
And also, the length of time it gets cooked and so on and so forth. Look, we all know what a recipe book is. We all know what a list of ingredients are. Lists of ingredients are not copyrightable. A recipe book is.
Next question, coming from Stephen. Hello. In my past, I have some tax issues that I know are going to jump up and bite me. I am doing well now, and my business is getting off the ground. I don't want to wait until the IRS surprises me. What is the best way to handle this without bringing down the IRS on top of me? Asks Stephen.
Stephen, I think a lot of people have similar situation. It's a very difficult question to answer. I don't know about the past. I don't know whether you have any tax liens. I don't know whether, what they've done out there. Many people are setting up businesses and forming companies so that the liens that they have against them, whether personally or in another business, will not attach to their current endeavor. Many people take an inordinate amount of steps to disassociate themselves from the ownership of the business. Again, no doubt because of tax ramifications and things like that. But I'd like to be able to help you out more and give more suggestions, but I have to know more about it. So if you're listening to the show, why don't you send us in a follow-up email or give us another call and give me some more details about it so I can be more specific in my response.
And you'd like to know about liens and what he may or may not have out there.
What is it that at the IRS or his problem that's giving rise to his question? Specifically, that's all I really need to know. I can deal with it.
All right, Stephen, you got some homework. Now, I would imagine, though, that there are people who, in their past, have had some transgressions and maybe didn't pay their taxes or whatever, but now it's years later, and that's in the rearview mirror, but they maybe haven't cleared anything up, but they're starting their business and they're doing well, and it's the last thing on their minds. It is a good idea to go back and make sure everything has been handled before you become too successful at this next endeavor. Those things will come back on you.
Yes, you have to be careful, and that's why I said that many people are establishing businesses, entities, whether it be corporation or limited liability company, specifically to avoid the tying of the business to themselves personally so as to avoid perhaps the tax man. I used to say, gee, I don't know of any real valid reason for a U.S. citizen, if he was interested in an S-Corp, not to have one, because they are the most tax-advantaged type of corporation you could have. Then one day a client explained to me that he simply did not want any paper trail of his business to his Social Security number. And so he insisted on a regular corporation, and he was willing to forego the benefits of the S corporation to get that. Now, when you have an S corporation, you receive, like with a limited liability company, a K-1. And this K-1 is given to you much like a 1099 so that you can complete your income tax return. So you can see through that process, the company then is giving you something under your Social Security number. And this client was insistent that that not happen. So he had a regular corporation. Now, if we have a regular corporation, even though we may forego some tax advantages of the S corporation, there's this overriding factor at work that requires us to forego those S corporation benefits and just get a regular corporation. And fortunately, the regular corporation is out there and can be utilized for that. Then, if properly managed, we can almost negate all the S corporation benefits by the utilization, perhaps, of business expenses and also salary and wages.
What I get out of this, though, is that an S corporation can work for most people out there unless they have a very specific need, as you just described.
Exactly. And in this particular case, it had to do with the IRS.
Well, Stephen, we hope you get it worked out, and by all means, follow us up, radio show at AmeriLawyer.com, and we will try to answer your question in more detail. He's Larry Spiegel, I'm Joe Castello, and we'll be back after this on AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today.
AmeriLawyer.com.
Start or expand your business today. Form your corporation for as little as $104.95. Each corporation is complete and includes state filing fees, corporation records book, corporate seal, articles of incorporation, corporate bylaws, corporate minutes, stock certificates, preliminary name search, and attorney's fees. Spiegel and Joe PA and AmeriLawyer.com can also help you with assumed or fictitious business names, advising on legitimate business expenses for tax purposes, discussing the converting of personal expenses into deductible business expenses, assisting you in developing a service agreement for your business, answering your questions on the advantages of minority-owned business certification, explaining the differences between a corporation and a limited liability company, and the benefits of creating either a regular corporation, S corporation, or a limited liability company. Knowledge is power. Order over the phone at 800-603-3900. That's 800-603-3900, or online at AmeriLawyer.com.
Got a question about starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business? Call 800-520-7600. Just leave your name and your question. Listeners' questions may air on episodes of AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. That's 800-520-7600. 7600. Now back to Start or Expand Your Business Today.
Joe Castello back with Larry Spiegel, the managing shareholder of Spiegel and Joe, PA, author and entrepreneur. Now, Larry, you've been doing this a long time. You have been building businesses for a long time.
Yes, I have. I've been a lawyer for 40 years and been helping people start businesses since 1970.
You've probably learned some of these lessons on your own in the early days.
I am. I'm a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks.
And sometimes the best way for people to avoid mistakes, maybe they can avoid mistakes by learning from other people's experiences.
There are a lot of things that you can avoid if you recognize the situation that you're in and then seek assistance. It's just sometimes as simple as getting another person's opinion about a matter that they've been involved in that's similar to yours, and they have the answer for you readily available. I think that in many occasions, when I talk to clients, they're very surprised at how quickly I can summarize a situation and give them a solution.
They may think it's this terrible thicket of problems, and someone who has gone through that exact problem may be able to offer them a way through it and out of it. And that's exactly what we're talking about here today. And you can always email radioshow@amerilawyer.com, and we encourage you to check out the site, depending on where you are and what you're looking to do. You can get a lot of good, interesting information there, or call the show 800-520-7600. Leave your name and your question, and it may be used on the show. All right, let's get back into it, because Manny's got a question.
Hello, my name is Manny. I got a question for you guys. I'm a manager of a couple of hip-hop artists, and I'm just getting started in the business. So, I have a couple of crews that I'm working with, and before I help these guys too much, just wanted to know, how can I obligate these artists so that I will be their exclusive representative? I heard too many stories of guys dipping out of their representation after things get going. So I just wanted to know what I can do to lock them down so that I'm their sole representative. Love to hear your answer, guys. Thanks.
And we hear this in business all the time, especially in entertainment. A band had a deal with a manager, and then they move on, and there's an issue. This is something that we hear a lot about in entertainment.
Right. In that industry, generally speaking, we're looking to control the artist through an agreement known as typically the artist's contract. The other thing the artists may have are copyrights, so we want to control those also. The idea would be to have the artists assign the copyrights to us, license the copyrights to us, deal with those copyrights in the artist's agreement. And of course, the artist's agreement itself would give rise to exclusive representation by us of the artist. And that's really it in a nutshell.
Now, in the entertainment industry, we have heard about Michael Jackson buying the rights to the Beatles' music out from under Paul McCartney, something that everybody knows about. This is where I think most laymen out there get their knowledge of legal situations, if it's entertainment or sports or something, rather than business, just because it's not publicized as much.
Well, when we say that Michael Jackson got the Beatles' rights to their music, all we're talking about is their copyrights. That's all it is in the end. That legal right that was created by the registration of those songs, whether the audible songs or the music itself, the written music, in the form of copyrights. And that's what, when someone purchases, that's what they're buying.
Manny, thank you very much, and best of luck. Please send us some music. Who knows? We hope he does very well. Next question, this one from Jennifer. Larry, I travel a lot, and while traveling, I do business. The trips are not necessarily strictly for business, but many things get done while I'm on the road. Can I claim that these trips are business expenses?
The answer is yes and no. When you combine business with pleasure, you have to be careful, because only the business portion of the trip will be deductible. So you get the idea there, and the idea would be separate them completely and do not conduct any personal or pleasurable experiences while you're on your business trip. And to be honest with you, I think if the trip is substantially business, there's not going to be a problem anyway, because you have to make the trip for business. If there's some side issue that's personal, it's not going to give rise to much of a complication. Because I like to think of business as an 8-hour day. If I spend 8 hours a day traveling and it relates to the business, I mean, that's it. What I'm going to do at night I don't think the government really cares about that. They're not going to split hairs.
But as long as you're out there and you're doing something business-related, what you're doing in between, that's not going to matter.
No, I didn't say in between. I said in the evening, after the workday is over. If there's some personal thing that you do after, I don't think that negates any of the expenses that you had during the day that related to business.
But as long as it's a business expense, that is deductible.
Well, the question really related to the trip, the idea of the trip where you're doing business and pleasure. So what I'm trying to say is it's deductible for business, limit the pleasure, and try to limit it so that it's not infringing at all in the 8-hour business day. And I don't think anybody's going to argue with that if you document that.
All right, Jennifer. Excellent question, and have fun on those trips. Now, Larry, as we leave today, please give me some thoughts on what should an entrepreneur out there be doing to make the most of his opportunity?
Well, Joe, I think that an entrepreneur should always be selling. That should always be on his mind, his mindset. It's very important. And in order to do this selling, an entrepreneur has to have certain traits, characteristics that we see in the successful entrepreneur. And he's got charisma. That's probably one of the most important things. He's got an ability to think on his feet also. He's got to be able to answer questions, weave in and out of the situation. And if you couple that with selling, then it's going to be very difficult not to succeed. And if you do that, you plan your work and work your plan, the sky's the limit. Take it away, Joe.
Larry, great job as usual. We've answered a lot of questions out there. If you want to get involved, it's radioshow@amerilawyer.com. And like Larry always says, plan your work and work your plan. AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today.
AmeriLawyer.com, where understanding your business is our business.
There are some mistakes in business that may cause the occasional headache. Then there are some mistakes in business that may keep you up all night for weeks and months at a time. Avoid those mistakes by seeking strategic business and legal advice from a team of attorneys ready to help you. Spiegel and Joe PA's General Counsel Club can assist you with the tough legal and business questions at crucial times. Call toll-free 800-734-9900 to receive your annual membership and be entitled to get unlimited strategic business and legal advice for a year. The General Counsel Club can assist with selecting a legal and tax structure for your business, building business credit, when a trust should own your corporation or limited liability company. What are the benefits of forming a corporation or limited liability company? What are the differences between a corporation and limited liability company? Using employees versus independent contractors. Knowledge is power, and knowing that Spiegel and Joe PA's General Counsel Club is one phone call away may give you the confidence to succeed during the day and rest well at night. Call 800-734-9900 or log on to AmeriLawyer.com today.